Let's be honest. There are days when you feel like you're running on fumes. Days when the weight on your shoulders feels heavier than it's ever been. Days when you wake up and the thought of doing it all over again makes your chest tighten. You've given so much of yourself to this journey, but right now it feels like there's nothing left in the tank, and that's when quitting starts to whisper in your ear. It doesn't shout. It doesn't kick down the door. It shows up quietly, offering what feels like relief. You've done enough. It says, no one would blame you if you stop now. And maybe you believe it. Maybe you're exhausted enough to want to believe it. I'm not here to pretend you should ignore that feeling. I'm not here to tell you to slap on a smile and bulldoze through it. No, the first step to moving past the urge to quit is to actually acknowledge it. To get real about the fact that this is hard, harder than you expected. Pretending though I had the worries, pretending you're not tired doesn't make you stronger. It just makes you numb. It's okay to admit you're worn out. It's okay to say, this is heavier than I thought it would be. That honesty doesn't make you weak. It makes you aware. And awareness is where change starts. The truth is, everyone who's ever done something worth doing has faced this exact moment. That point where the dream feels far away, the effort feels endless, and the payoff feels uncertain. We think we're the only ones, but we're not. The difference between the ones who made it and the ones who didn't isn't that it was easy for them. It's that they didn't mistake the urge to quit for a command to quit. This is the messy middle of the journey. The part nobody posts on social media. The part that feels like you're pushing against a wall that isn't moving. And it's here, right here, that most people walk away, not because they weren't capable, but because they thought the struggle meant they weren't meant for it. But the struggle doesn't mean you're off track. It means you're on it. It means you're in the exact place where real growth happens. If it wasn't heavy, it wouldn't be building you. If it wasn't uncomfortable, it wouldn't be stretching you. So give yourself permission to feel the weight. Sit with it for a moment. Let yourself breathe without pretending it's easy. But once you've felt it, remind yourself of this. You've carried heavy before. You've been here before, not in the exact same way, but you faced moments where you thought you couldn't keep going. And yet here you are, still standing, still moving, still in it. That matters. You've already proven you can make it through more than you thought you could. This moment is no different. The temptation to quit will pass. But the regret of quitting will stay. And the only way to make sure that regret never settles in is to stay in the fight long enough to see what's on the other side. You don't have to do it perfectly. You don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to take the next step. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Now. Even if it's small, even if it's slow. And maybe right now, that next step isn't a sprint, it's a crawl. That's okay. Forward is forward. Progress doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's shaky, but it still counts. The truth is, this heaviness you feel is proof of one thing. You're still in the game. And as long as you're still in the game, the story isn't over. So if quitting is whispering to you today, hear it. Acknowledge it, but don't obey it. You've come too far to hand your story over to exhaustion. When the road gets long and the excitement you felt at the beginning has faded into a grind, it's easy to forget why you even started in the first place. The days begin to blur together. What was once fueled by fire now feels like just another task on your list. And in those moments, the temptation to quit feels almost logical, like it would just make sense to walk away and free yourself from the weight of it all. But here's what I want you to remember. There was a reason you began. There was a spark, a vision, a hunger that pushed you into this journey in the first place. Maybe it was a dream you'd carried for years. Maybe it was a promise you made to yourself. Maybe it was a pain you swore you'd never feel again. Whatever it was, it mattered enough to pull you out of your comfort zone and into the unknown. That reason still exists. It didn't vanish just because the path got harder. It's still there, buried under the fatigue, the doubt, the noise of everyday life. You just have to dig it up again. Sometimes we get so caught up in the how that we lose sight of the why. We get tangled in the details, how many steps it's going to take, how much time it's going to require, how much further it is to the finish line. But the how has never been what keeps you going. It's always the why. The why is what pulled you out of bed on the days you didn't feel like moving. The why is what gave you courage when you didn't have all the answers. The why is the anchor that holds you steady when everything else tries to push you under. When you're on the verge of quitting, you have to go back and revisit that moment you made the decision to start. Feel it again. Picture it in detail. Remember what you were feeling, what you were dreaming of, what you were desperate for. Let yourself reconnect with the emotion of it. Because your why is personal. It's not for applause. It's not for applause. It's not for validation. It's not for anyone else's approval. It's yours. And that's why it's powerful. The people around you might not understand it. They don't have to. It's not their journey to understand. It's yours to live. And here's the thing. Your why is often bigger than you. It's about the people who will be impacted by your persistence. The people who will draw strength from your example. The people who are watching you right now, silently hoping you won't quit, because if you can keep going, maybe they can too. Quitting might seem like it will bring relief, but it also erases the very thing you set out to prove to yourself and to the world. And the hard truth is you'll never know how close you were to the breakthrough you've been waiting for if you walk away now. The road you're on right now, it's shaping you for something greater than the destination. And your why is the compass that keeps you moving in the right direction, even when your legs are tired. So pause for a moment. Close your eyes. Go back to that first day you said, I'm doing this. Back to the hope in your chest. Back to the fire in your belly. Back to the reason you were willing to risk your comfort in the first place. That's not gone. It's still inside you. It's just waiting for you to remember. And once you do, once you reconnect with that reason, quitting stops feeling like an option. It starts feeling like a betrayal of the very person you were when you began. So when the urge to stop feels stronger than the will to go on, remember this: you didn't start just to see how far you could get. You started because you had something worth finishing. One of the biggest traps we fall into is believing that progress should be smooth, steady, and predictable. We picture the journey like a straight road that goes up and up with every step we take. But the truth, progress almost never works like that. It's not a neat graph. It's a messy scribble of peaks, valleys, and plateaus. And when you hit one of those plateaus, it's easy to think you're stuck, that nothing's working, that all your effort has been for nothing. But that's a lie your frustration wants you to believe, because the absence of obvious progress doesn't mean the absence of progress. Sometimes the work you're doing is invisible for a while. The seeds are in the ground, but they haven't broken through the surface yet. You can't see them growing, but that doesn't mean they aren't. Think about how a muscle is built. You don't see it growing while you're in the gym. In fact, after a tough workout, it's sore, tired, and feels weaker than before. But in that recovery, when nothing visible is happening, that's when the growth is taking place. Your journey is no different. The seasons where it feels like nothing is changing are often the seasons where the most transformation is happening beneath the surface. And yet, this is exactly where people lose faith. We're wired for results. We want to see the payoff for our effort. And when we don't, our motivation starts to leak out like air from a balloon. That's when the thoughts creep in. Maybe this isn't working. Maybe I'm wasting my time. Maybe I'm not good enough. And those thoughts, they're the real danger, not the plateau itself. The truth is the plateaus are not the enemy. They are proof that you're still moving forward. They are the space between moving forward. They are the space between who you were and who you're becoming. They are the bridge between your last breakthrough and your next one. And if you can stay on the bridge without turning back, you'll reach the other side. It's in these in-between spaces where persistence is built. Anyone can keep going when the winds are stacking up. Anyone can push forward when the results are obvious. But it takes real strength to keep moving when you can't see the payoff yet. That's what separates the ones who finish from the ones who fade out. Sometimes you have to stop obsessing over the big picture and look at the smaller signs of progress. Maybe you're more consistent than you were last month. Maybe you handle setbacks with more grace than you used to. Maybe you've developed habits that once felt impossible to stick with. Those small things count. In fact, they're the foundation for the big changes that will come later. You can't control the exact timing of your breakthroughs, but you can control your commitment to keep showing up. That's the real work. Showing up when it's not exciting anymore, when there's no applause, when the road feels flat and unchanging. Because the moment you decide to stop is the moment you guarantee you'll never see what was waiting for you just ahead. And here's something to remember: progress is rarely visible in real time. You often only recognize how far you've come when you stop and look back. The plateau you're on right now might feel endless, but one day you'll glance over your shoulder and realize that this was the stretch of road that taught you patience, resilience, and trust in the process. The mountain doesn't care if you sprint or crawl. What matters is that you keep climbing. Some days you'll take big, powerful strides. Other days you'll drag yourself forward one slow step at a time. Both count. Both move you closer. So if you're in that place where everything feels slow, where it seems like you're not getting anywhere, I want you to remember this. You are not stuck. You are in the middle of the work that matters most. And the fact that you're still here, still standing, still putting one foot in front of the other means you're already winning. Don't quit in the quiet seasons. That's where the real growth takes root. When most people start something new, they imagine the victories, the achievements, the moment they'll finally get to say, I did it. They picture the highlight reel. What they don't picture is the grind in between, the early mornings when you'd rather stay in bed, the setbacks that hit you harder than you expected, the moments when the finish line feels like it's moving farther away instead of closer. And yet, that's the reality of every great journey. The struggle isn't a detour. It's not a sign you've taken the wrong path. It is the path. Every challenge you face is shaping you into the person capable of carrying the dream you started with. If the road were easy, it wouldn't require you to grow. If it never tested you, it wouldn't transform you. Some people see struggle as proof they should stop. But what if you saw it as proof you're doing something that matters? Resistance is often the clearest indicator that you're pushing into territory where most people give up. It's like the wind in a runner's face. It's not there to stop them. It's there to strengthen them. The truth is, the dream you're chasing doesn't just demand your talent. It demands your resilience. And resilience isn't built when things are smooth. It's forged when you keep moving even though every part of you is tired. When you adapt after things fall apart. When you push through one more day even when yesterday nearly broke you. Every time you face a challenge and refuse to quit, you're building more than momentum. You're building identity. You're becoming someone who can be trusted to show up for themselves no matter the cost. And that kind of person, they don't just achieve goals. They inspire others to believe they can too. The struggle might feel heavy now, but one day you'll look back and realize it was the very thing that gave your success its meaning. Because an easy victory is quickly forgotten, but the one you had to fight for becomes part of you forever. So when the road feels rough, stop asking, why is this happening to me? and start asking, what is this building in me? Because that shift changes everything. The struggle is not your enemy. It's your greatest teacher. One of the quickest ways to feel overwhelmed is to stare at the size of the mountain you're trying to climb. When you stand at bottom and look all the way to the top, it's intimidating. You start thinking about how far you still have to go, how many steps it will take, how long it will take to get there. And before you even start moving, you've convinced yourself it's too much. But here's the truth. You're not supposed to climb the entire mountain in one leap. You're only responsible for the next step. That's it. Not tomorrow's step, not next month's step. Just the one that's right in front of you. Breaking the journey down into small, manageable actions takes away the weight of trying to do it all at once. It's like driving through the night. You don't need to see the whole road to get where you're going. You only need your headlights to light up the next few feet. And as long as you keep moving, those few feet will eventually lead you all the way there. The problem is we often paralyze ourselves by thinking too far ahead. We get stuck in the what ifs. What if I fail? What if it takes too long? What if I'm not ready? But the only real what if you should focus on is this. What if you just keep going one step at a time? Some days that step will be big. You'll feel strong, motivated, unstoppable. Other days it will be small, just enough to keep you moving forward. Both matter. Both count. And here's the secret. Those small steps stack up. You don't even realize how much ground you've covered until you look back and see that the small things you did consistently built something massive. The mountain didn't shrink. You just climbed it one piece at a time. So don't get lost in how far you have to go. Keep your eyes on the step in front of you, then take it, and then the next one, and the one after that. Because mountains aren't conquered in a single moment. They're conquered by a series of small, faithful steps taken by someone who refused to stop. There's a moment in every journey where you feel like you've given everything you have and it still doesn't seem to be enough. You've pushed, sacrificed, endured, and yet the finish line still feels far away. That's when the doubt gets loud. It tells you you're wasting your time, that maybe it wasn't meant to be, that maybe you're not cut out for this. But that moment, the one where you're sure you can't go any further, isn't the end. It's the turning point. Because here's the truth, most people never realize breakthrough often come right after your hardest moments. The wall you've been pushing against isn't there to stop you. It's there to see how badly you want what's on the other side. And the people who get there aren't the ones with the most talent or the best resources. They're the ones who refuse to stop when it hurts. You've probably heard the saying, it's always darkest before the dawn. It's true in more ways than one. That darkness is the space between your last bit of comfort and the light of your next chapter. It's uncomfortable, it's uncertain, and it's tempting to turn back to what's familiar. But if you can stand your ground in that darkness, if you can keep moving even when you can't see the way forward, you'll find yourself stepping into a place you once only dreamed about. The greatest rewards are rarely given to those who almost finish. They're reserved for those who go all the way. And that doesn't mean it will be perfect. It doesn't mean you won't stumble or fall. It means you'll get back up every single time because you made a decision that quitting simply isn't an option anymore. Think about the people you admire, the ones whose stories inspire you. Their paths were never easy. They all hit moments where it would have been easier to walk away. But they didn't, and that's why their stories matter. That's why they have something to show the world. Your story can be the same, but only if you push past this moment you're in right now. The last stretch of any journey is always the hardest because your body, your mind, and your spirit are all being tested at the same time. But that's also when you're the closest to seeing everything you've been working for. So when you feel like you're at your breaking point, remember that you've survived every breaking point you faced before. You've gotten through storms that once felt like they'd never end. You've overcome things you thought would be the end of you. And each time, you didn't just survive. You came out stronger. This moment is no different. You have more in you than you realize. You have more strength, more resilience, more capacity to endure than your fear is letting you believe. And the moment you push through this wall, you'll see it for yourself. So take a breath, tighten your grip, remind yourself why you started, and then take one more step, because the next step could be the one that changes everything.